What's all the buzz about? Chatterbees!
Welcome! Today's story is about an evil Karen who makes life hell for her neighbors, but the neighbors get revenge by buying her house. Stick around because you won't want to miss this story. But first, if you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, subscribe for more content, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload more videos. Now, let's get on with the story. The story begins with a happy couple moving into their dream house. My husband and I had been saving up for almost a decade to move to a tropical paradise. About 2 years ago, we bit the bullet and moved to our dream location. Housing here is super expensive, like Hawaii prices, so all we could afford was half of a duplex. It is beautiful and on the water with a dock for our boat. Unfortunately, Karen, Billy Bob, the boyfriend, and her 3 kids live in the other unit. The entire duplex was owned by an older gentleman who rented out both sides. The sides do not match at all. One side is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. The other side of the duplex is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. We bought the 5-bedroom. On our side of the property, we have 90% of the backyard, a gazebo, and dockage, about 150 feet since it is on a corner. The other side has a small backyard, patio, and maybe 15 feet of dockage. Right from the start, their neighbor attempted to assert her dominance. The rental leases say the renters are entitled to their specific backyards, but there were no fences or anything, so all the renters shared the entire backyard. After we bought the house, Karen immediately tried to throw her weight around and expected to continue with that privilege. I told her if she asked politely, we would try to accommodate her. She thought this meant she could use our backyard whenever she wanted. Soon enough, Karen began taking liberties, claiming to own the entire property, including OP's house. One day, my husband and I were enjoying some drinks outside when a delivery truck arrived to set up a giant blow-up inflatable in our backyard. I asked Karen what she thought she was doing, and she said it was her kid's birthday. Then she had the gall to say it was a family and friends-only event. So we had to stay inside our house, not wanting to be a total a-hole and ruin some little girl's birthday. I told Karen after this she had no access to our backyard. Period. Karen shrugged and kept setting up the party. During the party, a drunk adult wandered into our house, which shocked us all. I said Karen's house is on the other side, and he said, "Oh, Karen said she owned the whole property and to use whichever bathroom was available." I directed him to Karen's bathroom, and soon after she came storming into our house, screaming about how dare we make her look bad to her friends and how selfish we are we couldn't even spare one bathroom. She said we didn't deserve all this space with just us. I told Karen to get the hell out of my house or I would be calling the cops. She finally left and the party wrapped up shortly after. Then there was the time Karen called the cops when the couple attempted to remodel their own property. After the party incident, we decided we needed to clearly define the backyard and build a fence. While we were spending the money, we decided to update the patio, put in a fire pit, and an outdoor kitchen. While the contractor was on site, nosy Karen came to investigate. Since the fence would be the last thing built, I was vague and just stuck to telling her about the patio update. You could see her face light up because, of course, in her mind, what was ours was also hers. When the workers started on the fence, Karen came out screaming for the work to stop. I went outside and told the workers to keep working and told Karen to butt out. Of course, in true Karen fashion, she called the cops. What happened next was hilarity on my part after explaining to the cop that we were building a fence on our own property, and the landlord, of which Karen was not, knew about it. When the cop gave Karen a stern lecture, I thought her head was going to explode. She went back into her house and slammed the sliding door so hard it sounded like something cracked. We got our fence, and I thought that would be in the end, but of course not. Then Karen and her boyfriend, Billy Bob, pretended to be the OP and her husband. One day, Billy Bob entered the picture, and he was as much a terrible neighbor as Karen. He would throw cigarette butts and empty beer cans over our fence for disrespecting his woman. Billy Bob had a 30-foot fishing boat, and of course, their side of the duplex only had 15 feet of dockage. Since we had so much dockage and only one boat, we rented out the other dockage month to month. People come and go, so if we didn't receive rent from them by the end of the month and the boat disappeared, we thought nothing of it. We had a renter who tied up their boat on the property line. But Billy Bob wanted to park his boat and needed that space. Karen and Billy Bob posed as us while we were out of town, told the renters to be gone at the end of the month, and then parked Billy Bob's boat in their space. I found out about it weeks later after the renter left a nasty review on the rental site we use. They said we were rude and went back on the verbal agreement to let them stay for 3 more months. After a phone call, I quickly put 2 and 2 together. Once again, cops were called, followed by a small lawsuit. I called the cops who told Karen and Billy Bob they needed to move their boat or it would be towed. Karen and Billy Bob screamed that the boat was fully on their property. It wasn't. Then deflected to no one can own the water, true, but a seawall is deeded, that we were liars. And then at some point, Billy Bob punched a cop and went to jail. I felt bad for the cops and took them all snacks the next day with a note apologizing for neighbor drama. I ended up winning my small claim suit against them for lost rental income. But of course, I haven't seen a dime yet. I eventually convinced the dockage renters to come back and gave them a few months free as compensation. But finally, karma caught up with Karen when her landlord decided to sell her property. So, with the collapsing market, we tried to figure out what to do with our savings when a perfect opportunity opened up. The landlord, who owned both properties, was in desperate need of cash and was tired of managing the property from 2,000 miles away. Because, of course, Karen is a Karen, and called him weekly for every little thing. Since we had money, we wanted to reinvest into real estate. And because the sale of the property presented a clear opportunity to control who our neighbors would be. Heck yeah, we jumped on that. Since we didn't need a realtor or mortgage and an inspection had been done just a year ago for the old landlord to refinance. Everything closed in just under 2 weeks. Finally, Karen gets hit in the face by sweet, sweet revenge. Karen was aware of a change of ownership as we registered the property under an LLC, but she didn't know that we were now the new owners. I went over to Karen's house and knocked on the door. Karen answered with a "What do you want?" I smiled, handed her our landlord information, and sweetly reminded her rent was due by Friday, but she could just hand me the check if that was easier. I've always heard descriptions of people's faces turning white, but this was the first time I had seen it. I told Karen that we would honor her lease until the end of July, but afterwards she needed to make plans to move because we intended to remodel it before the next tenants moved in. Whoa, what an experience. Having bad neighbors who exhibit negative behavior or create a hostile living environment is certainly challenging and stressful. The moral of this story underscores the power of resilience, resourcefulness, and maintaining composure in the face of adversity. By navigating legal channels, maintaining professionalism, and ultimately taking control of their living situation, the couple not only triumphed over a troublesome neighbor, but also secured a positive outcome for themselves. In the end, karma caught up with Karen, highlighting the timeless truth that integrity and persistence pave the way for a just resolution. Have you ever faced a challenging neighbor situation or a similar tale of resilience and triumph? We'd love to hear your stories and insights. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this saga. Subscribe for more riveting narratives and ring the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Your engagement means the world to us, and we can't wait to continue this conversation with you in the comments. Until next time, stay resilient and keep the positive stories flowing.